Hey guys, look what I got. That's right, I got the Hubsan X4 Pro real-time FPV quadcopter. This thing has an extraordinary amount of features, and they are high-level features. So this is the most intimidating quadcopter I have ever tried to review, so let's go for a ride and check this thing out. Alright guys, let's take a look at the different editions that are available for this product line. I'm not sure I would have named it Low Edition because frankly this thing has a lot of cool features, and that's the one that I have, by the way, is the Low Edition. But it has some extraordinary features, including one-axis gimbal. It's got a smartphone holder, and it's the only one of these three that has a parachute. In fact, that's the only quadcopter on the market, or drone, whatever you want to call it, that has a parachute. Basically a safety mechanism to save your quad if you run into an issue. So that is incredible as far as I'm concerned. The main difference between the medium and low edition here are the fact that this medium edition has a 2-axis gimbal, which is fine, great, but it doesn't even have a parachute, so take that for what it's worth. The high edition does have a better transmitter, and it's got a 3-axis gimbal, but again, it does not have that parachute. Alright, I'm going to quit talking about it. Let's open up the box and see what's going on inside. Alright guys, here is a look inside the box. As you can see, we've got the X4 Pro right up front there. It doesn't come with any propellers, but we've got the box right down there below. And up next, we are going to take a look at all the components that come with this in this ready-to-fly package from Gearbest.com. And that's coming up next. Alright guys, up first is the box that contains both the parachute and FPV transmitter. And this is what comes inside the box. This is the parachute right here. If I can get that out of there. I'm not entirely sure how this works. Of course, there's a little bit of dust on this from the egg crate packaging, which is totally fine. And here's kind of a look at the parachute. Sounds like I'm moving a servo or something in there, so that's probably how that releases and then pops off, but we'll take a closer look at that in the future, possibly another video. And that looks like the bottom of the parachute itself right there. Alright, so right here we have essentially the instruction manual for everything. Because really, the radio that's under here is the brains of the operation. So, gives you all the information that you're looking for. And this is pretty important right here. I'm going to back that off just a little bit. So these are the different configurations you can do. And, well, this one you can't. That's what it's indicating. So you can't have the parachute on and the prop guards at the same... Well, the camera and the parachute, that's what that is right there. You've got these different options. So basically you can't have the prop guards on and have both of these items on at the same time. But if you don't have the camera on, you can have the parachute and the prop guards on. So, you know, opportunity cost. I think I'm probably going to fly it like this, at least the first few times. Prop guards have served me well in the past, and that's how I'm going to do it. And here is a look at the manual. It's actually pretty decent quality. Fairly well written too, which is always a positive when you're talking about stuff that is most likely made in China. There's always that language barrier to deal with. Yeah, it's pretty good diagrams that show you what's going on. And here is where the smartphone goes, and it also shows you here how to work and install the parachute. And as I alluded to prior, This is the world's first UAV with a safe escape system, i.e. the parachute. Alright, so other things that come inside this box. Connector cable, not entirely sure where that goes or what it's for, but that's okay. And here we've got the parachute hardware. And over here we've got the 5.8 gigahertz antenna that goes on top of this. And just a word of warning, do not turn this on without this attached. It's 5.8 gigahertz on both the receiving and transmitting end. That is a big no-no. So just a heads up for you if you're not familiar with that. And over here there's some hardware. I'm not entirely sure what this is for, but we have this in this box right there. Alright guys, we are going to do a quick overview of this radio for this really high-tech, ready-to-fly quadcopter. Here's the antenna for the 2.4 gigahertz part. This is where that antenna, the 5.8 gigahertz FPV, comes into play. And here is where we have the visor and display for the FPV part of this. Looks pretty cool and actually extends out pretty far, so it should give us pretty nice view even in some pretty glary weather. I don't have any batteries in here yet, so I can't turn on the display, but I did do a quick test when I first got this a few days ago, and I confirmed that this is mode 2, as well as just kind of giving a quick test, quick look. This thing has a ton of things that it can do. I think these up and downs are toggles between the menu on the display. If not, I will correct that statement later on. Here's our GPS switch. If it's up, it's on. If it's down, it's off. Sometimes you want it on, sometimes you don't. It's more or less a position hold from what I understand in reading the manual. And this is our return to home function. I believe it's a similar thing. And if I have those reversed, I'll probably add notes here. The A and B, I do not know what they do. They may be partially due to the parachute or something else. These different dials, the T1 and T2, I think they are related to the gimbal, the camera, or smartphone, whichever one you've got installed, how those relate to this. One other really cool thing is we have, looks like a place for an SD card here. Micro SD card. We've got a USB port. We have a video out for goggles, or if you want to go with a little bit bigger display sitting down. And we've also got audio for headphones, it appears. This thing takes, we've also got a charge plug there. It takes 8 AA batteries, and it appears that you've got a place that you can stick some rechargeable batteries in there. I will just use straight alkalines, at least at first, until I get used to using this, and I'll do some more research on what is a good idea and what is not as far as rechargeable batteries go. I am not a fan of charging things within a charger if I can avoid it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with that. So here is the star of the show. This is the quadcopter, and this thing has some pretty cool things. First thing I'm going to talk about is the battery. The battery is huge. Pull that out here. Do it as carefully as I can. This is a 3S 7000 milliamp hour 25C battery. This thing is going to give me some nice flight time. I can't remember what the manual said. I believe it was 20-25 minutes, something like that. But I will let you guys know what I find out as far as that goes. But that is very, very believable. And part of it also depends on how much of the equipment you have on it, because The more weight you have on it, more stress you put on the motors, the less efficient this is going to be to do normal flight. This thing has a proprietary connector, or at least one compared to my Dean's and EC3. It's a XT60, which a lot of people have chargers and charge plugs for that. I don't. Luckily, this thing comes with a charge unit, and we will be talking about that probably up next. Alright, so enough of the battery. Let's take a look at the rest of the quadcopter. It's got some nice cushions down here, which I always like something like that, because something as nice as this is, I want it to last as long as possible. Still have fun with it, but make it last as long as possible. And what you can see right here is our HD camera, 1080p HD camera on this one axis gimbal. Now it may only be one axis, but it has some great range. So this is, horizon mode basically. Look at the range. Look at that range, guys. It can look behind it. That's incredible. And we've got some really nice anti-vibration material right here, just like on my Blade 350. It also looks like it's got some incredible lights here. Should be outstanding visibility, which I absolutely like. Even during the day, it's nice to have that reference point. Alright guys, and behind the gimbal, we've got the locations where we install various things, other components that came in this ready to fly kit. Alright guys, and here is a look at the FPV 5.8 gigahertz receiver mount. Make sure that two things actually. Make sure that if you turn this on, that you've got the antenna plugged in, both on the radio and on the quadcopter itself. That is huge, guys. You can burn them out, and burn them out really fast. The other thing is, do not panic if you can't find this right away. It's actually in a box that you don't think it will be in. In fact, I'm going to show you that right now. Alright, so if you were acting like I was just a few minutes ago, trying to find that 5.8 gigahertz FPV receiver antenna, look no further than this box right here. Not only do you have the propellers, labeled propellers, but you also have that missing antenna that you're looking for. You've also got your prop wrench and some, looks like a USB cable of some sort. And that I hope you guys find helpful, because I know that I was about to jump on YouTube and try and figure out where the heck I needed to find that. While we are in here, let's see if we can't take a look at the propellers themselves. It looks like we have some backup propellers, which is always nice. Pull one of these out there. This definitely feels like a nice quality propeller with plenty of pitch, which is nice. It even has a nice little label on it. This one is a B, and it tells you how to lock and unlock it, in addition to what it says in the user's manual. And the more I look at the user's manual, the more I am happy and confident that you guys will enjoy using that user's manual. It's simple but straightforward and clear, which is always a good thing, especially when you make an investment like this. So now we get a chance to take a look at the charger that comes with this. And here is what it looks like inside the box. As you can see, we've got our charger back there. It charges 1S, 2S, and 3S batteries. And as you can see, we've got two different sets of banana plugs. So if you don't want to use this, you can use your hobby grade charger too. We've also got the power supply for the charger right down in there. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to charge this battery up, It says in the manual it takes 180 minutes, which makes sense because it's got 7,000 milliamp hours. That is a lot of energy, that's a lot of storage, which takes a lot of time to fill. So I'm going to get that going right now. Alright, most of my regular subscribers know me as the guy who literally does unbox in real time and very rarely takes a peek ahead. Well, in this instance it bit me. So this Eurocharger adapter plug, it was hidden below the charger, and just now I realized that I'm not able to use it because I do not have outlets that match up with this. Folks in other countries will probably love this. US, that doesn't work, which makes the fact that these come with this product comes with banana plugs all that more valuable. I will use my hobby grade charger and use these banana plugs and charge this thing up, and I'm going to go do that right now. While the battery's charging, let's take a look at the prop guards. So the items that come inside the prop guard box are obviously the prop guards, as well as the hardware. Now, this is some high quality hardware that goes along with some very high quality prop guards. These are probably the best prop guards I have ever seen. It's just nice hard plastic. It's got some vertical clearance too, as well as lateral clearance. Yeah, these things are going to be very effective. Alright, the last but not least component is the one-axis smartphone gimbal. Alright, and here is a look at the gimbal for your smartphone. Looks like this is where the smartphone goes, and it mounts like such in where the camera is right now on the quadcopter. And here is our power supply to drive the servo on the gimbal. And it looks like it's got a pretty good range of motion too. So you can look down like so. Looks like you can almost look up. Yeah, slight angle up too. So you've got pretty darn good visibility with that. Alright, here this thing is in real-time application. We've got an iPhone 4S, which is a very thick phone by today's standards, and we definitely have a lot more room to grow lengthwise and widthwise, so this should fit on a lot of different smartphones. Alright guys, I've got a few things to show you here. The first thing I'm going to show you is the range of motion on this gimbal. It's actually pretty good. I'm going nice and slow here. Definitely pretty cool. You can look behind yourself as well as going slightly up. Now I'm going to see how fast I can make this thing go. I haven't tried to do this yet, but let's give it a go. Oh, nice and slow. That's actually good if you're trying to video stuff. It's not going to go too crazy fast on you. That's always a good thing. Another thing you'll notice is the lights. They are pronounced and substantial. Another thing you'll see here is we have a really nice color display, at least in person. This looks fantastic. It should be very, very easy to fly FPV, even though this is only a 4.3 inch screen, which I try and tell the ladies that's pretty substantial. In actuality, it isn't that big, but it seems like it's going to work well anyhow. And as you can see there, we've got 10 satellites. We've got some other things showing up here on this OSD. And I'm pretty excited about this. In fact, not just pretty excited, I am really excited. There's some other information down there. One of the things that you'll notice is position A is headless mode. Can't really see it through the monitor, I don't think. At least not what I'm looking at here. Turn that off and on with the A button. I still haven't figured out what the B button is. And this, of course, is the return to home if you have that on. And the lights change color when you have that on. Doesn't change color with headless mode, but the return to home, it changes color. So it's kind of a bluish purple when you've got the return to home on, so make a mental note of that. Otherwise, it is green and white. Alright guys, this is what it looks like with the props and the prop guards on. Both are very high quality and make it look phenomenal. This thing looks amazing in person. In fact, it's significantly larger than my Blade 350. Well, maybe not significantly, but it's definitely larger. And I'm going to show you the difference right now. Alright guys, here is a look at the size comparison. As you can see, the X4 Pro from Hubsan is significantly larger than the Blade 350 QX3. Everything from the prop quality to the body quality, everything is much better on the Hubsan than the Blade so far. Now, I'll let you know when I'm done testing this indoors in here. It's taking a little bit of a risk doing that in here, but that's what's coming up next. Alright guys, I have this thing queued up and ready to go. We are going to do a quick test flight, and I mean super quick. I'm basically going to set it up, take off, and then set back down, just to kind of get a feel for how it works. Before I do that, I've got the GPS on right now, and we have 10 satellites. And as I showed you before, when the GPS is on, that's kind of key. When you hit the return to home, it goes purple, like so. But when you flip off the GPS, which I'm going to do right here, that changes the colors to yellow and whitish purple up front. So I'm going to fly this without the GPS indoors. Flying with GPS indoors is only asking for trouble, so I'm going to try to avoid that. And now we are going to turn this thing on. We've got it on. And now we are going to lift off. Holy crap, guys. It's got a really nice altitude hold function. And it is holding altitude like a champ. Alright, so I'm going to set this thing down and turn off the props like that. Now, for those of you who watched my X8C Venture video when I flew that and then the curtains were waving in the wind, I'm pretty sure when I watch back the footage, that's going to be nothing compared to this. This thing is comparable in size, if not possibly just a little bigger. And this has 4 powerful brushless motors. So that was a hell of an experience right there. I am smiling, grinning ear to ear. And I will be back with my final notes. So if I had any doubt at all about this being a night flyer, it's confirmed right here. And this is in the non-GPS mode, where it still has a really nice altitude hold setting. Alright, so that's a different color. That's the green, that's the GPS on. And there's that return to home color I was telling you about. Turn that off. Turn GPS off, and there we go, kids. Now I'll be back with my final notes. Alright guys, I am going to wrap this up here real quick. I'm pretty much just going to say this thing is awesome. I haven't really done enough to really come up with a genuine pros and cons list yet. Normally there's a few cons that stand out that I can throw out there. I really haven't found anything like that yet. I'm sure I will, but at this point I haven't found it, so I'm just going to leave it at that at this point. I plan to make as many videos with this thing in the next little bit as I can. I would say in the neighborhood of at least 2 or 3 more in addition to this. We'll figure out how creative, or see how creative I get with it. I hope to at some point do a parachute video. Definitely going to do a smartphone video with my iPhone 4S. And the next video you'll see is just a basic flight video, me testing out the camera, hopefully some footage from the ground, showing the altitude hold, the GPS, the return to home, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to leave it at that right now. Like, comment, and subscribe so you can check out those future videos. And GBLynden out.